Hey YouTube friends, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. I am so happy to have you. I would love for you to hit that subscribe button, turn on your notifications so that you don't miss another video from me. Today's video is a video request from our lovely subscriber Veronica Salas, who requested that I do a DIY eyeshadow palette holder. So if you want to see how I made this eyeshadow palette holder, keep on watching. So here are some of the supplies you're going to need. You're going to need some napkin holders from the Dollar Tree. The quantities are going to vary based on how big you want to make your unit. You're also going to need some butter dishes for your smaller palettes. Next, you're going to need some bling wrap or ribbon or something to make a border. You'll need your glue gun or some super glue E6000. You need a poster foam board. You'll also need a razor to cut your foam board with, as well as a straight edge. I am working with my gigantic construction size straight edge. You'll need a mirror if you want to do a mirrored base like I did. You'll also need 2 cake pans with a bag of marbles to create the optional rotating option. And a bag or contact paper or something. I'm using an old Christmas bag. You'll also need some of these cordial glasses that I hauled in my last video, and some of the small storage containers that come in a pack of 8. You'll need a ruler, a pencil, and I believe that's it. So here we go. The first thing I did was to measure the mirror on the foam board, making sure I had enough allowance for a border because I didn't just want the mirror sitting on the foam board. So I did that. I measured, making sure that I had enough space to put the diamond wrap. As you can see, it fits very nicely there. So next, once I centered the mirror, I traced around it. That's going to help me with the placement when I'm ready to glue it down, and that way it's going to be perfectly centered. So when I applied the glue, I applied it along the perimeter of the tracing that I did, and also some in the middle to make sure the mirror is secure. Then I grabbed the mirror and I lined it up with that line I traced earlier and placed the mirror down, making any adjustments before the glue dries up. So the next step is going to be working with your arrangement. Now, based on how many palettes you have, it's going to determine which arrangement works best for you. These are just some ideas that I threw out there. So I started out with like 2 napkin holders and 1 of the butter dishes. And I did want to have like a stepping pattern, so you had like a tall, shorter, shorter, shorter down. So I did that. And another one was to have a really tall one at the top, maybe to put your favorite palette on. And then adding more of the napkin holders below, but using the little containers to give you the height necessary so that you still have that stepping pattern. Personally, these are the types of palettes that I have. I only have a couple of the larger palettes. So for my needs, using the butter dishes are going to work better. So I decided to create one little unit with 2 butter dishes and 1 of the napkin holders. So I went ahead and glued the little legs onto the first napkin holder, and I used the smaller storage containers. And then I made a marking on the napkin holder to make sure that I knew where I was going to put the butter dish that was going to be higher, and make sure that everything kind of worked. And then I glued the whole unit together and then glued it onto the mirror, all using hot glue. So far it's been working really well, but I think if you're doing a lot of usage, you might want to use a more permanent, stronger glue. Next, I glued the cordial glasses onto the back napkin holder and then glued it onto the mirror by adding some hot glue to the rim. Then applying some pressure, keeping it in place, it was all ready. So this is what the top looks like. The next thing I'm going to be doing is applying my border. So I measured along the bottom edge for the diamond wrap. And when it came to the sides, I didn't align it all the way along the foam board. I only aligned it along the mirror because there's going to be some overlap. As you can see, there's overlap right there. So you want to just measure the area where the mirror is. So on the two sides there, I just added some glue and then placed the diamond wrap on. Again, you can use whatever type of ribbon you want based on whatever covering you're going to use. Like for contact paper, I went with this really shiny bag, and I thought it went really well with the diamond wrap and the mirror. So that's what mine looks like. Once that was all glued on, I realized that the hot glue did not dry perfectly clear and needed to cover that up, and I used a strip of the bag to cover that area up. I didn't do it all the way around because I did want the makeup to show through. I only covered it the area where the glue was showing. Next, I put together my DIY Lazy Susan, courtesy of Alejandra.tv. And it's really nice. It's very smooth. You do hear a little bit of rattling, but it goes really nicely. Next, I wanted to cover the cake pan, so I just measured some foam board to create like a hole encasing for the area where the cake pan was showing, and making sure it had enough clearance. Now, when it's not perfectly straight and smooth, I like to kind of rub it down so that I have a smooth edge where I cut. And then I went ahead and glued it. Now, I wouldn't do that step right then. I would probably cover it up. Like, I'm going to be using my bag to cover up this encasing. I would cover it up first before I glue it onto the unit. Next, I glued on the top of the cake pan, and then I added some strips of the bag to cover up the bottom. Again, I would do that before I glue up the bottom because then you have so much adjusting to do. And next, to add an extra touch of bling, I used the acrylic gems. I hot glued those on, and that was not the best idea because it did not dry clear. I don't know if it's the glue that I bought, but it didn't dry clear on this project. And so I would use a different type of glue for that. So I glued it along the front edge, and I added a couple on the back. And then after making some adjustments with the bag, this is what it looks like. Next, I was ready to add my makeup to it, and as a final touch, I added a couple more of the cordial glasses to the sides and added my makeup brushes in there. Only the eyeshadow brushes because those were skinny enough to be added on there, and this is what it looks like. And I really love this. This is such a great idea, such a nice little unit. I'm so thankful to Veronica for giving me the idea. I really hope that you like this. It was about 12 bucks, totally customizable, and hopefully it suits your needs for you and your daughter. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Thank you so much for watching. If you don't follow me on Instagram, please do. And I will see you guys in the next video. God bless. Bye-bye.